Hi, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we've got another Y-START knife to look at. This is a blade I've had for a long time, at least in terms of how long I usually keep a knife before I do a review on it. I've had this knife for about 10 months now. Right around the time that I started Canadian Cutting Edge, I got this knife, and I've hung on to it, and I've played with it, and I've enjoyed it, and I've just not done a review on it. First thing that you want to see about this right here is, yes, it's got OS 8A. That's OS 8 annealed. The A really doesn't mean that awful much because you're going to anneal your blade anyways. So OS 8 steel, which is a reasonable budget steel. It's not great. It's certainly not terrible. It's an okay steel for a knife. It's pretty heavy. We've got blade stock that's about 4 millimeters thick. We're looking at 0.16 inches. That's over 1/8 of an inch thick. It's a nice big chunk of steel here. You've got a flat area right there where it says Y-START, flat on both sides. An unsharpened swedge that goes all the way to the tip. A flat grind, so it's like a saber grind all the way up. A little bit of a sharpener's choil there. They put a reasonable edge on it from the factory. I haven't really done anything except for strop it occasionally. I have had this knife for a long time. I've not actually done any genuine sharpening to it. You know, well, stropping is a form of sharpening, but I haven't done any other kind of sharpening to it, like with a grinding stone or with my work sharp or anything. I haven't done that. You can tell I've carried it a fair bit because we've got a lot of snail trails on this bolster here. And that's just the way it is. I just am not happy with the lighting in here. Let me see if I can do something with this. How's that? Is that better? Hopefully that's better. So yeah, the bolster's got a little bit of snail trail all over it, but that's just the way it is when it goes in and out of your pocket a lot. The fit and finish on this knife is fair. It's not great. You can see right here where the lanyard meets this bolster that there's a bit of a space there, more than you'd like to have on a knife, but yeah, it is what it is. This is a budget knife, by the way, so you do get the budget conditions. Y-START can't make perfect blades all the time. This is a pretty good knife, though. Let's talk about some more of the specs. The cutting edge is 3 5/8, which is 9.2 centimeters. The handle is 4 3/4, which is 12 centimeters. When it's open, it is 8 1/4 inches, which is 21 centimeters. And the thickness of the handle is 0.6 inches, which is 1.6 centimeters. And I already talked about the thickness of the blade steel. We got ambidextrous thumb studs that are this kind of, just round barrel kind of thumb stud. Very functional with that little bit of a ridge, a line cut out of them. Very functional, very, very functional. The micarta feels good. It's not polished, so you get a fair bit of grip out of that. Nice size lanyard hole. You could probably fit 1100 paracord through that hole. Certainly you can fit 550, no problem. There's no skeletonizing on this knife at all, and that's why it's 7.2 ounces. That's 203 grams. So it weighs a fair bit. You've got 2 phosphor bronze washers, or are they? Maybe, and I just changed the lighting again. The lighting keeps changing because the light's hitting the window beside me to the side where the knife's pointing. There's a big window in my kitchen and the light's coming in there at the odd time. It just brightens and darkens. So I'm sorry about the adjusting of the light. It just bugs me. I can't tell if these washers are just phosphor bronze washers or if they are ball bearings. Because although this side's nice Torx, this side's got one of those proprietary 4-banger holes, and I don't have a tool to hold that still. And if I just use my screwdriver and I get it in there, I've got my nice WIA drivers. Get yourself some good drivers. Don't cheap out on drivers. You're gonna screw up so many of your screws. You're gonna screw them up and make them rounded out, and you're gonna strip them and stuff over the years. It's just not worth it. Spend a little more money on some good quality drivers. This is German. There's a lot of German brands that are 4 letters long. It's kind of funny. But if you turn this one, the pivot just sort of turns along. See that? It just turns along. So you can't really do anything about this unless you get the proper tool, either a two prong tool, a spanner kind of tool, or a 4 index tool so that you can hold it. And so it is what it is, but it is very, very smooth action. The lockup on this liner lock is nice and early. I like it just where it is. The left edge of this liner lock is lined up with the left edge of the blade of the tang of the blade, which is perfect on a brand new knife, which means you've got 100% lockup, like the whole surface is mating, but you've got lots of room for wear. The blade centering is perfect when you close it up. The open pillar construction is really nice. You've got these pillars that have a little bit of a decorative effect to them with those 2 little lines ground into them. So you've basically got these 2 pillars, a nice big stop pin, and the pivot, and that's it. Big heavy blade, nice big stock, cuts really well, feels good in the hand. There's no jimping anywhere to be found. So, well, there is some jimping. You just saw it right there. On this thumb riser, well, it's not really much of a riser, although technically it does rise ever so slightly right there. That provides really good traction for your thumb. It's just like a square jimping, and that holds really good. And this little choil up here works really well for locking and unlocking the blade. It's very easy to get your thumb in there to undo the lock and open it up. And you know, the detent is just strong enough so that you can do a really easy flick with this knife, and it opens really well. Lockup is solid, no play side to side, up and down. You've got, you can see that accent spot right there where it changes direction. So you got a flat grind, and then you've got a little bit of a, instead of a hump, you've got a negative right here. It's still thick enough with a bit of a swell on the palm side so that when you're holding the knife, it feels good in the hand, and then it swells out at the end, so it's not going to slide out of your hand that way. And this big choil at the front here is going to stop your hand from sliding forward into the cutting edge. If you stab into something and you hit something abruptly while you're doing that action, your hand's not going to slide up across. Just the basic shape of this handle means that a grip of any style is comfortable in your hand. You can get it any way you want in your hand. It's going to feel comfortable. Really good about that. I've got a large size hand. It's a little bit closer to medium than it is to extra large. So that tells you a little bit of how it might compare to yours. It feels good. It looks good. It cuts well. It you know, it does a good job. Let's see how it cuts with this paper. This is like, remember, I've had this knife for like about 10 months. So that paper's not that great. It's got a wet spot on it. But any knife can be sharpened, so, you know, it's okay. It cuts well. It looks good. I wanted to share this with you because I haven't showed it yet. And I know some of you have seen it on a couple of other videos. Pocket clip, I didn't tell you about that. It's a unique kind of pocket clip. It's a tip-up style pocket clip, right side only. You can't put it anywhere else. Fairly deep carry. Let's use an imaginary pocket and pretend this is your pocket. You know, it goes up to about there, so you got that much sticking out. You know, if you put it on an angle, and it does want to sweep back, like it wants to sweep the knife back into your pocket that way, which is a good thing, because if you're facing the direction my finger's pointing, and this is in your right pocket, it swings back, and then you've got room for in the rest of your pocket up here for change or your keys or whatever. So I like it when pocket clips do that kind of swing back kind of orientation. This one does it well. There's no hot spots with it. It looks like it might because it's so angular, but no, it's really comfortable in the hand. The G10 is nice and grippy. The fit and finish, like I mentioned, is fair. Not great, not terrible. The look of it is kind of cool. I like bolsters. That's a look that I like to have on a knife. The blade shape I like, you know, just a gentle drop point, great big belly, short flat area, flat grind. So It's good for slicing. The thumb stud's far enough back that it doesn't get in the way when you're cutting through things. The proprietary pivot, don't really like that too much. That's a negative. So there's a few negatives and a few pluses. It's heavy, proprietary screw, fit and finish is fair. Those are the negatives. Positives, I like the general design of it. I like the shape. Cuts really well. Looks good, feels good. One of the other potential negatives, depending on your perspective on it, might be the steel. It's not the best steel, but it's certainly not the worst steel. So there's a number of negatives and positives about this knife. It's one of those middle of the road kind of things. If this knife doesn't talk to you, if it doesn't strike you saying, hey, I want to get that knife, hey, pass it up. Don't bother. If you look at this knife and something just says, I got to have that knife, then yeah, consider the negatives and positives and weigh them out and make your own decision on if you want to get this knife or not. Because I like carrying this knife. I don't mind, over 7 ounces. Would I prefer under 5? Yes, but I don't mind over 7. Yeah, I just don't mind big knives. It's just the way I am. If you really dislike having big knives, hey, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's room in the knife market for every desire and every perspective out there, and they're just as valid as the next. And that's why we've got so many different kinds of knives. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, even if you don't like the knife, if you like the video, please click on like down in the corner over here. Click down in the lower left-hand corner if you want to share this video with somebody. And leave a comment, would you? I like the comment section the best. If you're not yet a subscriber, please consider subscribing. It really helps the channel out an awful lot. I really appreciate it. And remember, at the end of March, I've got a big 1-year anniversary giveaway coming up, so stick around for that. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. This is Jake for Canadian Cutting Edge. This is the Y-START HK101, and remember, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb.